Greeting. Shavua Tov. Zionism. Tonight, we're supposed to have a Canadian pro-Palestine supporter. Let's hear some music. He's supposed to come in tonight and tell us why Israel should not exist, because he knows so much better than Jews. But so far he's not here yet. So we have our friend Abe Froman over here visiting.
I say we blame Canada.
Well, Canada is going to recognize a state of Palestine, which of course is ridiculous. I barely recognize a state of Canada, but they apparently want to, virtue signal or whatever, and be Nazis like Canada historically has been. Canada turned away refugees from the Holocaust. Canada gave a standing ovation in their parliament to Ukrainian former SS Nazi. Recognizing Palestine is just, it tracks, kind of par for the course for Canada.
If you remember, Trudeau's father was like part of like the Freedom Party and was a big Hitler supporter.
Definitely.
And we all know about his mom's supposed affair with what's his name, the Cuban dictator Fidel Castro. And Castro had Nazis train his army. He sold out Che Guevara so he can get Nazi soldiers to train his army from the Butcher of Lyon, Klaus Barbie. Because what's his name? Che Guevara was messing up the cartel shit, and they were working with the Nazis, and that was the trade-off. He'll get Nazis to train his troops if he gives up Che Guevara. So go ahead.
Right.
Everybody who loves Fidel and loves Che are retards.
Yeah, but it always works out that way. Anybody who works with the Nazis is ultimately always a traitor to their own people. They're always some type of shady, underhanded person working against their own group, working against their own country, working against their own nationality, whatever it may be. But nobody normal and loyal works with the Nazis. It's kind of the way that it goes. Like, if you're a skullduggery motherfucker, then you work with the Nazis. If you're decent, you don't. I mean, pretty simple historically. That's the way it's always worked out. It was never like, oh, these guys were great guys, except for they worked with the Nazis. No, there's a pattern there of bad behavior. As is with the what the thumbnail or whatever for tonight's show actually is al-Husseini with Hitler, because obviously skullduggery, dirty people work with the Nazis, like we were just saying. And so the father of the Palestine statehood movement worked with the Nazis, and then trying to make a Palestine after helping to initiate the final solution. Obviously, yeah, he was a dirty motherfucker,
Well, he was also involved in the Armenian genocide. He lit the fires at Smyrna and burned Armenians alive in Greece.
A pattern of disgustingness. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then he was also in touch with Al-Ghani in Iraq, where the Chaldean genocide was taking place. That guy was literally part of a contingent that all came from this one Islamic preacher named Rashid Rida, who also happens to be a Husseini from Lebanon, who was his uncle, and he was the teacher of the entire Muslim Brotherhood. He is the father of Takfiri Islam. The fact that they kept that nobody's really Islamic and they have to either bring it back or kill everybody. It's pretty disgusting.
Right. When we talk about these type of things, a lot of people haven't done any type of research on history, and they just go with like the current news headlines, which we know obviously are biased, especially with the AP whistleblower coming out recently saying that the AP has essentially been complying with Hamas propaganda and promoting Hamas messaging since at least 2008, because they were afraid of Hamas, and they are propagating whatever messaging Hamas wants to put out in the AP. And think about how many other news sources are lazy and base their information off of things that they read on the AP.
Well, I don't trust the AP at all because they actually, if you look at them, they collaborated with the Nazis as well. So historically,
pattern of disgustingness.
like you could everybody that's involved, if you really want to trace it back to basically what is going on now, every single one of these terrorist groups, every single one of these people, every one of these organizations, all had some sort of Nazi leader that took over at some point. Like even Amnesty International. The guy McBride, he was a blue shirt, which was the Nazi
Irish
contingent.
Nazi.
Yeah, it was Irish Nazis, but they were also the contingent of the IRA that wanted to run with Hitler.
Right.
What was the other one? The UN itself had Kurt Waldheim, a Nazi, that became Secretary General. UNRWA, let's not even get into it. They're like Lazzarini, the guy who was the top guy in there, is literally a relative. His uncle was a Nazi general, well, a fascist general for Mussolini. If you look at it, every little one of these fuckers has some relationship, and it's really, really disgusting.
And the Palestine people think that we're supposed to overlook that, or they think that they just don't know about it and they think it's a rumor or we made it up or whatever. Speaking of the Palestine people, it's almost 10 minutes in, and this gentleman, and I use that term very loosely, has not shown up or messaged me regarding joining the stream. So Johnny G Photography on Instagram apparently is a little bit afraid.
Maybe he's jerking off a large deer because he needed some mousse for his hair.
Well, they do all kind of weird stuff in Canada. But no, I don't know what he's expecting, but he's got the same link that you received, so he should be able to easily access. Hold on, I did just get an Instagram message. Let's see, what is it? Not from that person, so okay. I did want to mention though that now is beginning Tisha B'Av, which initially was to commemorate the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem, which of course now has a mosque built on top of part of it. But somehow they claim they were there first. But if you'll notice, I'm different. I'm in a little bit different setting. I'm down here by the bookcase. I'm sitting on the floor because that's if you observe Tisha B'Av, that's what you do. You sit on a low chair or on the floor to commemorate this solemn date, and a lot of other bad things happened on Tisha B'Av, including the beginning of rounding up people for the Holocaust. So just wanted to mention that's why there's a bookcase next to me, because I'm sitting on the floor today. So there. And I also will be, at the end of this broadcast, I will be playing the audio of Echa, also known as the Book of Lamentations. which is like 4 chapters, but it's not really, the chapters are not really that long. They're like a page and a half per chapter. So we're going to listen to that at the end.
Where is this guy? Is he watching Terrence and Phillip?
You know, who knows? I can tell you though that he is not. He's not here, and he's not responding to me on the social media platform in which I was contacted by him. By the way, this guy contacted me first. I don't go and search out your stupid pro-Palestine pages and leave a stupid comment or whatever. This guy was trying to leave comments on my page, and I restricted him, and so that puts his messages into like a hidden area. And he was trying to send me messages, so I temporarily unrestricted him. And he wanted to argue with me. He thought I was white. He wants to stick with the white colonizer thing. So even if you're like multiracial Jew, it doesn't matter. You're white. Never in real life have I ever had anybody mistake me for white. But apparently on the internet, I don't know, maybe people got worse eyesight, or maybe my lighting or something. I don't know. But yeah, he thought I was white. And I think that was kind of like largely what he wanted to kind of go off of. Well, you're white and you're racist. And that was going to be like his go to for the debate. Or at least that's what it seemed like in the
I don't know.
chat.
Like, I'm just anti-Canada, and that's about it.
Same.
Like, they shouldn't exist at all with their beady eyes and their flappy heads.
Somebody said in the chat that he bitched out. Yeah, I think he did. I mean, look, I told him Friday before Shabbat. I said it's going to be 1 a.m. your time. He said he's in Eastern Standard Time. I don't know, was he in Saskatchewan or something? But he says Eastern Standard Time. I told him it's going to be 1 a.m. Eastern, midnight Central, right? He says, "Oh yes, I will be there." Yeah, he tried to kind of obfuscate and start talking about some other stuff, but clearly, he agreed to this. This is not me, just making up something. The dude agreed to this. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna show that right now. See if we will switch out there. Let's see here. Can people see that? I might have to change the layout of it a little bit for it to be visible. But the guy, this is the discussion with the yes, my phone's always on hand. Will you? This is me asking him. Will you have access to the camera at that time? Yes, my phone's always on hand. He clearly, and so I mean,
Maybe you should message him real quick.
I did, I just did, and that's this other message, which I'll show you now. Hold on. This message. That's 30 minutes from now, but if you don't show up, we're going to double the genocide.
And it's not even seen.
Really, he thinks that there's a genocide going on and that he's going to be the voice to stand up for the people being genocided, and he cannot even show up. This is the strength of the pro-Palestine movement. It's performative bullshit, half-ass people that don't really know, don't really believe, They just kind of are going along with some fucking shit they saw on the internet, and when it comes really down to it, they don't have a damn thing to say. They really don't, because where's this guy right now? I mean, really, where's the guy right now?
I'll tell you where he is. He's preparing right now.
He's researching. He told me that he did research. I said, prepare, you know. He started talking about how I look white, and I said, okay, is this the level that you're bringing to the debate? You know, like, I hope you stay with this, because this is like retarded level, you know what I mean? Um, and it's like, uh, wow, you know. But he claims that he did lots of research and even did a school report.
He did a book report.
For school. He did some type of school work regarding this very topic, Israel versus Palestine. And he is a historian, he says. And now his social media says that he's a photographer. But of course, he told me that he's a security guard. So I don't know. I mean, maybe he moonlights and he wears many hats. But, you know, being a punctual debater is not one of his hats that he's wearing today, I'll tell you that. He really should feel bad for being almost 20 minutes and he hasn't shown up. I mean, I feel like that's really trifling.
I don't know. I think that's bad form. If you're gonna show up to a debate, at least like, and you want to like pop off and like say you're like, I'm a historian and blah blah, then you don't show. I mean, it's pretty bad form.
The worst. Literally the worst. He is, but this is, again, this is the first one out of all of these people that try to message me, argue with me on the social media, anywhere on the internet. They try and they want to talk all this shit when there's no face, no voice, and they got some little account or whatever. But then I'm like, debate me, and none of them will. Now, this is the first guy who actually agreed to do it, but now he's backed out. I did have one guy agree to debate me and then back out, but this was not about the Palestine thing. This was actually a neo-Nazi about the Jewish question, and he decided he did not want to debate me. And the day of, it got canceled. It was supposed to be on Halsey English's channel a few years ago. Uh, so I mean, this guy right here is, again, you know, pattern of disgustingness, just like the other neo-Nazi. The guy's backing out of the debate at the last minute.
Maybe there was an emergency protest outside of a Jewish deli.
Yeah, he had to go stop the Zionist bagels from being distributed. But I mean,
They were made with real Zionism, and he was afraid it may take over.
the guy, he says he has his phone with him at all times. You see it on the screen right there. He said it. He said he had his phone with him, always handy, always ready. And
Maybe he
wants,
lost his phone.
oh, just today he just happened to lose it, right? This was the moment of phone losing.
He's gonna say the Mossad stole his phone. Watch.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's something like that.
He's like, they came into my house with masks, and they were speaking Hebrew and some other gibberish, and they took my phone. And they cornholed me.
Well, that it may be something that he preferred. I don't know, but I mean, I'm looking through the things here. He has not responded, said anything. You know, I really don't. Not looking good for your Palestinians, man. We're gonna have to double genocide these motherfuckers. Since you're not showing up, we're gonna have to really clamp down on him now. And it's all your fault.
We need extra day JDMs there tonight.
We're going to everything in the whole Gaza is going to be mashed into a jelly because of this one dude. It's all his fault. As a matter of fact, you know what? He ended Palestine tonight by not showing up. He ended their whole movement.
I'm thinking that once Gaza is no longer, we should turn it into a Harry Potter land. Everybody loves Harry Potter.
Well, somebody said in the chat that he can't even be a white savior because he bitched out too hard to do any saving. Well, the thing is, he claimed, like many weird white people do, to be part Native American, and thus this makes him the master of understanding race, indigenous culture, and history, of course, because he, one of those millions of white people that did a DNA test and found some minuscule amount of Native American, and so like that gives them some sort of right. You know what? Let me tell you something. If you have a minuscule amount of Native American and you're mostly white, or First Nations, as they call them in Canada, but you're mostly white, there's a chance you're a descendant of a fucking really terrible rapist. Okay? It's a good chance of it. Nobody kept it, having Native American families and things like that. Sounds like somebody got fucking raped along the way, and it was your nasty ancestor that did it. So please, white people, stop claiming that 1% Native American. It's basically making you seem like the colonizer. I mean, it's
No, it's
really
the
embarrassing.
virtue signal. It's like my people are mixed. It's like, no, you rape people, you bastard.
Yeah, you creep. Like, what the fuck? But there is no Johnny G in the green room tonight.
Maybe his name is really Johnny G Spot.
And he's out whoring himself. And
yeah,
he's not really a security guard, but
no, I think
he does work the night shift on a different type of vibe.
See, in Mexico they have donkey shows. In Canada they have moose shows. I think he's part of the moose show.
I think he's part of bullshit. That's what he's part of. He's part of bullshit. The nation of bullshitters. And I'll give him, let's say that he got the times mixed up and he thought it was 1 a.m. my time. So I'll even go and wait until 1 a.m. here, which would be 2 a.m. his time.
Well, he's just waiting for the bar to let out.
Well, he says that he's a night shift security guard. He does not say at what type of facility, of course. But he I don't know. He said that it's generally nothing really happens. So he has plenty of time to debate tonight. Somebody in the chat also said that the lizard people abducted him. Hey, he maybe he's a reptilian. Maybe that is maybe that's his deal, and he's in a totally different line of time, and that's why he's not here, because he doesn't understand human time, perhaps.
Maybe he got stuck in a glitch in the Matrix, and his tinfoil hat.
He doesn't know Earth time yet. What is Earth time? I don't know.
Maybe the Men in Black showed up and kidnapped him and sent him home.
But yeah. So, but really, does he think his fellow freedom fighters for Palestine, did they show up late? Did they show up an hour late on October 7th? No, they showed up early, actually. So this guy is really half-assed for what he claims to want to represent. Um, you know, are you going to be late when it's time to save the Palestinian refugee? I wonder, is Canada going to let in the Palestinian refugees from Gaza, from the war? Are they going to let Gazans live in Canada now?
I think right now he's at the La Leche League getting his breast milks for Palestinian
Breast
children.
milks for the Palestinian children. I do it
That's
for
right.
the children.
Like he's gonna show up on camera showing off his sore nipples. It's gonna be
It's
awesome.
really, I mean, I, honestly, obviously I could have predicted that the guy was not going to show up, but I gave him a chance. I gave the dude a chance. I said, look, I'll let you go on here and make your point because I know all of their talking points and I knew that I could easily destroy it. Most of it, unless he comes out of the blue with some proof of some amazing piece of history, like some Palestinian dinosaurs or something. Like he's not going to come out with anything. That's the thing. There is no gotcha on this. It is what it is, But I was going to let him say his piece and, make the fool of himself. I wasn't, like I don't have to make the fool of the guy who already promoting the idea that he believes in something foolish, right? But I was gonna let him make the fool of himself, but now I feel like he's even made the bigger fool than if he would have came on and made those trash arguments that they always make. And I mean, he should really be embarrassed. He should feel like a whole bitch right now. He should really feel like, oh damn, I failed Palestine. And, frankly, I mean, to atone for this, he should probably self-immolate, right?
Probably.
Isn't that what they do?
What they cut themselves?
No, they set themselves on, fire and stuff. Don't they do that?
No, that's American crazy white people. Canadian people probably just cut themselves and then, pour like moonshine over it.
Ugh. I don't know, man. I feel like the whole Palestine movement is all about setting your own shit on fire nowadays.
Yeah, but the problem is that that's a special kind of crazy to set yourself on fire.
Well, you gotta believe in Palestine. It's already a special kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if this guy has any. No, he has not said anything. I don't know, man.
You should message him. Tell him your mama called. She says you was a chump.
I'm gonna put on some music for a second, and I'm gonna go check and see if he is online or not. So hold on. Well, nothing back from the man yet. I did send him a message. I sent the man a message. Let's let's see. What did I send? I say man. I don't even know how old this dude is. Maybe he's like 17 and he thinks he's real smart. I don't know. He says can you be a security guard if you're underage? I don't think you
No,
can.
I don't think so.
I said, hi, you not showing up.
That's funny.
And I sent him a little gif that says no pussyfooting. But yeah, where's dude? Where is your Palestine now? But,
I don't know.
dude is really
Maybe he's like doing like a little dabka dance before he shows up. I don't know. These people, all these people though, like when you really look at them, like a lot of them really just want to seem like heroes to people, and then they realize they really don't even have enough knowledge themselves, and they don't really want to debate anybody. That's why it always breaks down into them chanting or screaming or getting really upset or just cussing at Jews.
exactly.
You know, that's what happens. But I also think that there's a lot of Jewish people that aren't very, very educated in the subject as well. And in doing so, when they try to
Unfortunately.
debate, they look like assholes too.
Most people trying to debate nowadays look like assholes because they're not really debating. They're just like angry at the other person and just insulting them, which I can see a debate breaking down into insults, but it shouldn't start off that way.
I think all debates should have a little bit of insults in them.
Well, I mean, insulting with the facts, showing how stupid they are, something like that. But I've seen stuff break down into like, I mean, for example, off of this topic, during the COVID stuff, somebody was trying to debate with Ian Brown from the Stone Roses, and he was very against the lockdowns and all that stuff. And instead of arguing and bringing their science points, but they started off saying that he knows nothing about science and it figures for someone who looks like a monkey. They attacked, total went straight ad hominem from the beginning and attacked his bone structure. Like what? How does that prove that you guys are not being like fascist and locking the countries down and all this stuff by, oh well, you disagree with us, you're superbly ugly, like.
Yeah, but that's dude. That's how people debate now. Like you have to understand, like people have gone to a point where like they're just like, yeah, fuck you. Like, come on, like
Yeah, it's an idiocracy.
intellectualism is a dead thing. Like, it doesn't really exist anymore. And when you really try to find people actually to talk to about anything, politics, science, whatever it is, like they'll quote things, and then like when you ask them for their perspective or like their own way to extrapolate it, they can't do it. And it's a very, very sad, bleak world we're living in. That's why if you notice, there
Yeah,
hasn't really been any like real genius breakthroughs. We went to AI. We went to fake created computerized knowledge
yeah,
because
right.
people aren't thinking on the same levels anymore.
It's true. And not only are they not thinking at the same level, I think that they're like preferring to not have to think at all. Like they just want to repeat. They want to parrot something. Okay, I want a list that says what I'm supposed to say, and then I'm going to say that. Like that's what they feel like. And I mean, you see it like when you see like these left wing campaigns and 30,000 people are tweeting essentially the same sentence, but maybe just one or two words altered. They obviously, somebody put out a messaging email, right, and said, tweet, this. And they do it. And they're so uncreative that you can tell that, I can provide screenshots of like 100 different people saying the same tweet about COVID or about Ukraine or about whatever liberal talking point was the thing. And that's how uncreative they are. They give them, see, this is today's messaging, and they just copy it word for word and post it. like
I asked, it was a really good
terrible.
question once. I had a conversation with somebody, right? And they were discussing how, socialized medicine needs to happen all over the world. And I said, socialized medicine has caused a problem in Europe with resistant bacteria because so many people are just going in and getting shots. He's like, that's not true. And then I pulled up a graph from the CDC where the most virulent strains of bacteria exist, and it's in Europe and socialized medicine. And he was almost baffled by it because people don't understand that if you keep using the same treatment on things that are like microbes, they evolve. But he was parroting an idea that he heard from somebody else over and over and never did the research on it.
Yeah, he just accepted it because he heard it more than once. And it's like, that's really dangerous world that we live in. And people are, oh, what? Two different people said this, so it must be true. Like, are you fucking serious? This is the level that we're at now. It's very sad and dangerous, because you could talk people into doing genocides or genociding themselves. Really, with that type of level of mentality. It's like that. Like I said, Idiocracy. That film Idiocracy is supposed to be a comedy, but like I tried to show a couple scenes of it to my daughter, and she's like, "This is actually depressing. It's not really funny because this is the way that the world is now."
Yeah, it really is. One of the things that I don't know what happened.
Go on.
No, my phone just did something weird.
Oh, okay.
Basically, what was I going to get at? All right, so when it comes down to people and what they do and how they debate, I've seen people say things and it's just like, dude, you heard that over here. You're using that and then you're repeating that. And have you ever read this, or this? And people don't want to read. Look, we live in a nation where the bookstores are almost all closed.
Right.
There's no more Barnes and Noble. There's no B. Dalton, Borders. All of those places went under. And if you really look at statistically, it shows there's a lack of interest in actually reading. They can just get everything they need from Google for a project.
And they go on the internet.
Yeah, and they don't want to use their imagination to think about things. And the one thing about how the human brain works is that to imagine something is actually to look at its intricacies.
Right. You have people that were essentially a whole generation that was raised on templates for everything. So they have, there's a template for how to do this. There's a template for how to do this. They go into design programs and there's already a template. They just put in their words for the name and then the photos that they took into a pre-designed layout. Everything they're doing is based on, like you said, not having original thoughts. And it's even gotten to the point where you have a preponderance of these people who say that they don't have visualized thoughts, that they have no internal screen, like they have no internal narrative. They don't see things, and when they think of memories, they can't visualize things. Have you heard about this?
Yes, because everything has been done with pictures, and they're so used to seeing everything on their phone they can't remember numbers. It's all because they're not using certain parts of their brain. Remember, they said we only use 10% of our brains. That wasn't true, but in the next 10 years we will only be using 10% of our brains. There's certain functions that that incorporate with the mind, and actually it being able to be creative and it being able to correlate things and have critical thinking. When that's been taken away because you're looking at it from a device, it's not going. It's going to dull the actual senses or whatever the. It's going to dull like the mechanisms in the brain that actually are able to make connections. It lowers the amount of dendrical growth in the brain 100%.
People also, not only do they not have original thoughts, like you were saying, they can't remember phone numbers. They can't remember anything. And I think actually this is part of the reason why the person, man, guy, boy, didn't show up tonight, was because I did say no teleprompters like Candace Owens uses. You don't get to be looking up stuff actively while we're doing the debate, And I think maybe that scared him off, because maybe that was his plan, was to sit there and go, okay, hold on. And it says here that, you know what I mean? And and again, just parroting, not having any actual knowledge, because when you're reading something for the first time, you look something up and you read it, you don't know if it's true. You haven't verified that. You're reading it for the first time, and you need to be able to investigate the claims of the narrative that you're reading. But instead, these people will just rattle off the claims rather than verifying them.
Well, I mean, you have to realize like the world is like now getting all their information from memes. And I remember being, a 5-year-old being able to read, and I was looking at, the Sling Blade, picture book motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm like looking over, and he's like, "Oh, look at the picture," and it's just like, "Oh my god!" But that's what we live in. This is the world we live in. Like, I live in a kindergarten now, where I can read a book, I can learn something, and this person's putting 4 words on a meme, and most people don't want to do that. Most people don't want to use their brains. Do you know why? Because if they have to use their brains, they have to reflect upon themselves.
Right.
And they don't live in like reality has changed. Reality is a reality where we live on the internet. We live in a digital society. So
I'm
actual real
still
life.
messaging this guy and he is not responding. So let me zoom in on. Can you guys see that?
Palestine loses again. Not even a.
Not even showing up is very pussy. Palestine loses again. I mean, trifling, truly trifling.
Maybe he's
And
getting out of his
I
OnlyFans
sent this.
costume.
I sent this to some people, like, hey, maybe this guy will give me a run for my money or something. Let's see. Let's come and have a go if you think you're hard enough. And he, I guess, didn't think he was hard enough. He's not here. He's still not in. He's not showing up. He's not in the studio. It says 2 people. In case anybody thinks that like the guy tried to show up or anything like that. It's no, he didn't. There's 2 individuals, and Palestine loses again, man. Y'all really suck. You guys are just not good at. You're not good at war. You're not good at arguing. You're not good at negotiating. Uh, they're not good at things. I don't know anything. Really, the only thing that the Palestine side is good at is getting a bunch of idiots organized to show up to something. Really, that's their primary export is protest. They don't really have anything else that the Palestine people are really putting this out in the world. I really appreciate that they have done this or that, and they haven't really done anything that anyone could appreciate on earth. And that's a fact, Jack. It's not like me insulting them unfairly. It just is what it is, you know.
I mean, they are good at making tunnels.
Yeah, but so are rats and animals.
Yes, but they're good at making tunnels.
Okay.
So,
All
so
right, we
what we
can
should
count
do
them
is
being
what
good
do
at
we
something that animals are good at.
so after Gaza is completely taken over, I think we should export them to places to dig tunnels.
Export them to places that need tunnels. Done.
Exactly. Like
Like,
you know,
oh, we need a search and rescue.
there's diamonds in the Himalayas, and we just let China just put them to work.
Well,
You know,
they
16
already
hour
have some
days.
Muslim slaves, I hear there in China.
Yeah, we have China put them to work, and they just dig and dig and dig and dig.
Yeah.
Can you dig it?
Can you dig it? I don't know, man. I think they should probably just they're gonna make the tunnels over there and then blow some shit up. So I feel like maybe it's not a good idea to send them anyplace. Just
Well, I mean, in China, like they could be miners in the Himalayas.
in the grave.
The guy can run to the end of the tunnel, yell Allah Akbar, blow himself up, and there's a little bit of gold, and everybody's
Kaboom,
happy.
kaboom. Yeah. But on a more serious note, though, this dude that was supposed to be coming out here, he was accusing Israel and Zionists in general of being Nazis. Being we're like the Nazis, you know. And so I sent him the recent images of Avatar Devine and Ron Beslamsky, and I said, look, see these hostages? This is real starvation. This is a real Holocaust. They're shaving and starving Jews, trying to make them look specifically like Holocaust pictures. And you've got the nerve to say to me that we're being like the Nazis. And the guy's response was, oh, some ridiculous number 40,000, 400,000 are starving in Gaza, blah, blah. They automatically jump to the rationalization for the worst fucking crimes against humanity you could think. You could be like, yeah, this dude, he fucking shot this lady while, you know, she was being raped and he kept raping her and then burned the body. Well, there's 40,000 children starving. You know, like that somehow makes it something normal that somebody would do, you know? Like it's not even tit for tat because we're not even saying, oh, well, they did this exact same thing. No, it's just like, oh, well, there's 40,000 people that are facing starvation in Gaza, which is not true anyway. And the ones who are facing starvation is because Hamas is withholding the aid. But even let's assume that it was true, how would it justify the sick, perverted, demonic nature of the way these Hamas motherfuckers act? Like, how, oh, well, you know, all of these people, I mean, they do the same thing as the original Nazis did because the original, like, well, at least neo-Nazis claim that the Holocaust was justified because of the Holodomor. They say, well, it was Jews and they starved a bunch of Gentiles. Of course, it wasn't that it was Jews, it was communists, and communists barely identify as Jews if they're Jews at all. But they say the Jews did the Holodomor, so therefore the Holocaust was justified. So you had a famine, even if you say it was a planned famine. A famine somehow is the same as mass rape, mass graves, uh, sick medical experimentations. How the moral relativism is something unique to Jew hatred, because they will take any fucking thing to say just, oh, and it's always in my experience, it's always that somebody else was hungry. Like apparently the Jews are supposed to feed the whole world, you know, and if you didn't eat, it's the Jews' fault. Okay, even though Jews and Jewish organizations give more to food banks and food pantries than most average people do, doesn't matter. The Jews are the reason why people starved in the Holodomor. They're the reason why people starved in Gaza, starved. And then, so for some reason, that somehow justifies sick, sexualized brutality against people. What the fuck is wrong with these people? How can you put that together and say, oh well, all these, you know, all these people are starving in Gaza, and therefore it's okay to have, you know, raped, pillaged, killed babies, kidnapped, starved people, do sick individualized thing because of some large scale political
It's
incident.
just it's just handed down. It's just handed down hatred. Like, you know, a lot of these people, this stuff exists in their homes, and it has for centuries. Like, I mean, look at the Black Plague. The Jews cleaned their houses. The non-Jews didn't during the Black Plague, and they also killed all the cats because they thought they were demonic and didn't clean their houses. And the bubonic plague happened, and because the Jewish people weren't dying as much because they actually had to clean their houses and they were cleaner people because of Shabbat and holidays or whatever, they blame the Jews for as that they cursed the Christians. And like, you know, there we go. The Jews are sorcerers and have powers. And then
and they always do that too. They act like they're the holiest people. Whoever hates the Jews, they're holier than us, and we're demonic and stuff. But yet, they're the ones who want to kill us. Like, what? How are we demonic for just existing?
it's literally because they can't figure out. You have to know, people are really dumb. Like people like look at like somebody being successful and they're trying to figure out how the person's being successful. Okay, and when they can't figure it out, they blame it on something else. Like it happens in a lot of places. But also, let me get back. Let me say one thing, that a lot of like genocide happen because somebody invents a heritage or a fake people that never existed. Okay, and then they literally take that people, and then they go ahead and they absolutely like murder them. I mean, we can just look at the Rwandan genocides. Okay, like literally they took people that were the same exact people. All right, they were the same exact people. They were from the same exact tribes, and because they looked different or they had money, they separated them into different you know, categories. What was it, a Tutsi or a Hutu? And they went ahead and they literally created animosity between the same people, and they murdered each other. They murdered each other, invented people. Okay, so now let's look at Aryanism. Okay, if you look at Aryanism, like, you know, the whole Nazi ideology, right? They created an entire bullshit line of people that existed, created the Aryan people, right? The Aryan people believed, or the Germans and all these other retards started believing the shit, and they try to wipe out everybody who wasn't like them. Now, again, we see it again with Palestinianism. It's literally an invented people, all right, that have no real history. All right, that only that their history is now being changed. They're saying we were Canaanites. What else they say? We're Jebusites.
They're Philistines and Canaanites
and you know, like everything. And then they make up all this fake history, and then they want to genocide the Jews. It's literally the same
concept. And history always follows.
And it's also stolen identities too, because again, the Aryanism, just like the Palestinianism, is based off of histories that are not their own. Aryans, the only people that were called Aryan were people of Persia. They had nothing to do with white people. And all of a sudden, white people are calling themselves Aryans and acting like that represents the white race. Same thing here. Palestine, an idea created by the Romans. Now all of a sudden, you guys are Palestine, or maybe you're the Philistines, who were a totally different people, seafaring people from the Aegean Sea, who had nothing to do with Arabic. So, I mean, they steal elements of other identities and then create these invented peoples and these invented narratives, and then say, "Oh, you're trying to genocide us because you're not recognizing the greatness of our people," essentially. And so they try to kill everybody else. Like you said, the Hamas just had a video out recently talking. One of the guys talking about how it's not just about Palestine. It's that they want to convert everyone to Islam. You know, things that we already knew, things that we've been saying for a long time, things that we have told these people, but they act like we're not true. Now they're coming out and saying it, you know, and their excuse will always be that, Israel invented Hamas. That'll be their thing too. As soon as you tell them you can prove that Hamas did something terrible, first, Hamas are just freedom fighters, and it just makes sense. It's tit for tat. They're just fighting back, blah, blah, blah. And then you prove that they did some horrendous, horrible, dastardly shit, and they were created by Israel.
What's funny is if you ask
right away, in the same breath sometimes.
What's funny is if you ask any of these people, like, who are the Muslim Brotherhood, they have no fucking idea.
Yeah, and imagine, just a few years ago, Muslim Brotherhood was very large in the news. We had the Arab Spring, you know, and the uprising and taking down Hosni Mubarak and all these things, and they don't remember or know anything about that.
No, they don't. And the reason why they don't is because it's very, very hard for people to follow like Middle Eastern politics if you don't want to read. So you're basically dealing with like Muslim Brotherhood, and then it's like 50 offshoots. You have like about 50 offshoots of the Muslim Brotherhood. All right. You know, the major ones being Al Qaeda, Hezbollah. People don't even know that, like, you know, even the regime of the Ayatollahs were completely in correspondence. Ayatollah Khashoggi was talking to Sayyid Qutb via mail before the Islamic Revolution, like years and years prior. They both believed in the same ideologies. Absolutely. So if you get down to, like, you know, understanding, like, you know, that's an offshoot, then you have, you know, as I said, Al Qaeda, and then you have like, you know, in Turkey, the Grey Wolves. Who were the other ones?
Grey Wolves, I was going to say.
Give me one more second. So, all right, and even ISIS was an offshoot of the Muslim Brotherhood. Like all of those, all like it was literally like what we saw happen in Syria, and it's still happening in Syria, kind of. And, you know, it was the Muslim Brotherhood civil war. The actual leader of the Muslim Brotherhood was Mohammed Morsi. And after he was captured and killed, everybody fought to see who was going to be the top person running the Muslim Brotherhood.
Just like any gang.
Exactly. Like they literally, the mobsters went to war because, you know, the Don was dead. Yep. And then they ended up offing each other.
Yeah. They create that civil war within any time. And, you know, the Muslim Brotherhood itself grew out of the Muslim Student Association, the MSA.
Yes, it did.
Partially. And that was started right here in Illinois. Their first chapter was at the University of Illinois at Champaign, which ironically is the same place that had the first chapter of Hillel uh, in the United States.
Well, that's because they kind of stalk Jews everywhere. They kind of like
Yeah, I was going to
want
say
to
they
follow us
kind of
around. Yeah.
find where you'll see a lot of formerly Jewish neighborhoods turning Muslim, because they found out, well, okay, we can go to this place. They didn't have a lot of pork around. We can kind of, move in and, push these people out. That's what they do. That's what they did in Israel. That's still nothing from this person. So I'm just, in case
Oh,
you're wondering what I'm looking down at.
okay. You're still you're still sending messages.
Because
So
he's not responding.
so one of the things people don't know though is like Yasser Arafat was not Muslim Brotherhood material. They never let him in.
No, he's
But
a Soviet invention.
yeah, but his two ministers, I forgot their names. Two of the guys who were the founders of Fatah were both Muslim Brotherhood, including that fat bastard Abbas. He is also Muslim Brotherhood.
That fat bastard he is too.
He is. He's a Muslim brother, dude. They all, if you watch them, they're all using people to become rich. Every single one of them, like you, does the same exact shit. That's how they keep. They use that way to trickle down their side of the mob. They act like dons. Like people don't understand how literally tribal and mobbish Palestinian movements are. Like even like just the middle, like Arabs are so basically they live in a like a gangster feudal system.
Exactly. And you get all these white Western people that frown upon that when it's in Western society. Oh, it's toxic masculinity, this and that. And they'll tell you everything about how that like clannish, tribalist behavior is terrible. They'll call Zionists we're terrible because we're tribalists. But then they'll go with these guys who keeping track of, I mean, a lot of Jews nowadays, we all have essentially amalgamated under the tribe of Judah, but there were other Israelites who ended up going into that kingdom. And now we don't know exactly who may have come, and except for Kohanes and Levites, that we have the direct bloodline, but they have tracing for everybody's bloodline. They know everything. They were much more meticulous about it than the Nazis even. And so for these social justice people who act like they're being anti-racist by supporting this stuff, it's insane. They're people who worked with the Nazis, who think like the Nazis, who are worse than the Nazis, who still own slaves to this day, are somehow the social justice anti-racist cause now, which is
See, but people think it's stopped.
insane.
Like they're still working with the Nazis. See, the thing is, there are post-war Nazi groups that are absolutely funded, that have been funded. There's like they have like people that are chairheads. David Duke is one of them. David Duke flies out to Iran and sits at the same table with Medea Benjamin from Code Pink, all the Nutricarta fucks, people from the Nation of Islam, and every other fucking like vile anti-Semitic piece of shit. And then you go into and then you look at basically what was it, 2017, 2018, Hezbollah had the German far right party come and visit them. You can look it up on memory. They literally had the far right Nazis from Germany visiting people from Hezbollah. Like, wait a minute, aren't you Antifa people supposed to be fighting these people? But which side are you on?
Exactly. And that's why I used that image for the thumbnail for this episode. Whose side are these people really on? They're telling us that we're like the Nazis. And that's supposed to be the biggest fucking insult that they can think of, is that we're like the Nazis. Okay, but you want to act like the Nazis and you hate the Jews. So how are the Nazis the worst people who you're emulating? Like, make it make sense, guys. You guys want to go with the Nazi movement and do everything except call it Nazi. And that somehow makes us the Nazis because you didn't want to call yourself the Nazis, and somebody has to be the Nazis, so it might as well be you guys. I guess that's is that what's happening? Like somebody has to be the Nazis, and they don't want to call themselves that, so we have to be the Nazis now. Like I feel like there doesn't have to be Nazis. You could just not be Nazis. Like you could literally just not do it.
Look, like basically everybody just wants to use the term Nazi and take it, and they don't know dick about Nazis. They don't know like so
Right.
like one of my favorite things is when like you hear somebody like call like I couldn't be a Nazi because I'm gay. It's like the Nazis literally used the
Had
gay
gays,
movement. They had gays. They had a lot of gays. The Pool Hall Bush was like all gays that helped them, and then they basically turned
They
on
don't
them.
know
Like,
who Ernst Röhm is.
yeah, so they basically, got turned on, right, by their own friends, and they did the night of long knives. They slaughtered all their gay friends. You don't think that's going to happen again? This is just
Again,
textbook.
exactly.
This is just
Exactly.
textbook. Fucking like Hitler's rise to power in America. Textbook.
Mm-hmm.
And
We
no one studies history, so it will repeat itself.
We used to have a gay Nazi group in Chicago, Ernst
There's a gas.
Röhm's Army. They're called Ernst Röhm's Army. And repeatedly they tried to get into the Pride Parade, and people tried, they stopped them. One time they did make it in there because they had registered themselves as something else, like some sort of like gay German thing or something. And everybody obviously got pissed off because they were dressed up like little Nazis. Shit. But yeah, Ernst Röhm's Army was a real gay gang. And there's also the gay Aryan skinheads, Gash, like you said. So for them to act like, well, the Nazis hated gays. The Nazis didn't really hate gays. They hated gays who were dissident, who didn't want to be Nazi, which means they hated anybody who was dissident that didn't want to be a Nazi.
I mean, it's the same thing. Like if you look at like North Africa and like the Africa Corps, where like there were actually black Nazis, and people were like, "What? There were no black Nazis." Yeah, there were. They were fucking Asian Nazis, black Nazis, Indonesian Nazis. They were Nazis of all color, and nobody really understands that because they don't really study World War II. They take a Nazi.
They don't study what National Socialism even is, and they just think it's like rednecks, like racism in America. They go, "Oh, he's just racist. He wouldn't go around nobody of a different color." And that's not what National Socialism is. National Socialism has a very important racial element, but it is not just redneck racism. It specifically targets certain groups, the Jews, as well as gypsies and a couple others, as being the problems for these other races. And they view your race as your nation,
And that's they also wouldn't give the Irish like honorary Aryan status until they started like trying to kiss their asses, and like they still didn't do it because like Hitler didn't like the Irish. He saw them as what do you call it, like the same level as gypsies.
One thing I might have to agree with him on, I think the Irish probably are pretty terrible. Right now they love Hitler. Hitler didn't like them, but they love him. They just love him. They just everything that Hitler was about. Ireland is eating it up right now, and I mean they've been for a while, but they really are into it. And again, trying to kiss the Nazis' asses, and you're still not honorary Aryan,
Yeah.
But and if you really want to get deep, I do have a theory, and it's not just my theory, but that Batya, who saved Moshe from the Bible and was exiled with her entourage by boat, is the one and the same as Skota, who arrived with her entourage by boat from Egypt, who is the mother of the Celts. Overlooked thing in that narrative, however, though, the Celts, the Irish, and the Scots are really Berbers, Egyptian in nature initially, right? Um, true from the racial standpoint, but then you have to remember that before leaving Egypt, Batya converted to Judaism. So that would mean that all of these people were founded by a Jewish woman, and then they did not carry on Judaism. And as you see, people who are related to Jews and do not carry on Judaism often turn anti-Semitic. For example, all of the half Jews who are anti-Zionist that are supporting JVP, and all the people say, I never really felt Jewish because just my dad was Jewish. But and they don't observe any, they have some sort of psychological underlying jealousy that they feel that they were cut out of a chosenness, and they feel that they are left out and it's unfair. They feel that they've been wronged and that they should be able to be counted as quote unquote chosen, because they believe chosen means better. They don't understand that in the way that the Jews understand that we're chosen to follow and try and spread the Torah, not chosen like we're the coolest guys and we're the best looking, most muscular or something like that. You know what I mean? But they think it's like an Arianism where they that we think we're better. That's what they think chosen means. And so people who are descendants of Jews that are not included in the Jewish fold tend to have this outward acting, like this guy Phil Collins, another guy from Illinois, who was the head of the American Nazi Party for a while. Turned out his father was Jewish. Came out like towards the end, and again, because he felt that he was cut out of some sort of chosenness, and so he was bitter, and then hated Judaism and the Jews, and tried to spread Nazism with the swastika flag and everything. you know. So I believe that the Irish are descendants of a Jew, and since they're not being Jewish, this is why they have this bitterness against the Jew.
Maybe that explains the last name McCabe. Maybe it's Maccabee.
You never know. But realistically, if they are descended from Batya, she converted to Judaism and she saved Moshe, and they would be, you know, in a weird situation, because imagine Batya and her husband show up, then their children, unless they convert local people to Judaism, their children are not going to marry a Jew. There's no other Jews in the Celtic lands. These are the first one to arrive ever, you know? So, yeah, they're not going to be marrying other Jews. So, yeah, they would just become somebody descended from a Jew, you know?
Well, I mean, there is like a whole thing historically where certain groups of Scotsmen didn't eat pork.
True, and there is a Scottish Jewish line. The Jewish Scots even have our own tartan. Actually, it's you know to comply with Shatnez laws. It's a kosher tartan for the Jews of Scotland. But it's officially 20 minutes past the time that I would allow this guy to think it was the wrong time until so I think we're going to be winding it up soon, and I'm going to play the Echa, but I'm going to check one more time into my chat and see if Johnny G Photography has said anything. No, he has not said anything whatsoever. The last thing is me just saying, sorry ass pussy. Yeah, like, because he's a sorry ass. And he's a pussy. Meow, meow. Uh,
All right, so I'm just gonna drop off then. All right.
I appreciate you appearing and enjoyed the banter. Thank you to Abe out there in La La Land, and see you later.
All right.
So, as you see over here, there is that is actually Sadia Gaon's translation of Echa, Book of Lamentations, into Judeo-Arabic, something that he was working on for the Jews of Yemen and other Arabic-speaking areas, which I figured was kind of fitting for the subject matter tonight, even though we didn't get into a Palestine debate because the Palestine guy didn't show up like a schmuck, of course, of course. But I'm going to play the audio of the Book of Lamentations, so please stick around and listen to Echa as we end the stream for tonight and welcome in Tisha B'Av. I hope everyone has an easy fast. If you are fasting, if you're not fasting for whether health or other reasons, just remember that this is a solemn occasion and we don't party or wear lipstick or anoint ourselves with perfumes and all that type of stuff. Today, it's essentially like a funeral. The Holy Temple was destroyed, as well as many other tragedies in Jewish history on the 9th of Av. So here we begin, Echa.
Jewish audio on Chabad.org.
Eicha Yashva Vadad Ha'ir Rabasi Am Ha'yisaki Almana Rabasi Vagayim Sarasi Bamedinais Ha'yisalamas Bachai Sivke Balayla Vidim Asa Alalechaya Ein Lah Menachem Mikol Eihaveha Kol Re'eha Bageduva Hayula Le'evim Golasa Yehuda Me'eini Umerev Aveda Hi Yoshiva Vagoyim Le Motza Moneach Kol Re'defeha Hisiguha Bein Hametzorim Darchei Tziein Aveleis Mibli Bo'ei Meyed Kol she'areha she'mei min kehaneha nenochim b'zuleiseha nugais v'hi marla hayu tzareha l'reish eyeveha shalu ki Adonai hegah al reiv pisha'eha eilaleha halechu shevi lifnei tzar vayetzei mibasiyein kol hadorah Hayu sareha kayolim leimotzu umireh vayelechu v'leicheyach lifnei reideif Zachara Yerushalayim Yemei Anya Umrudeha Keil Machamudeha Asher Hayu Mimei Kedem Binefeil Amah Biaditzar Ve'ein Ezer La Ra'u Hatzarim Sochaku Al Mishpateha Cheit Chot'a Yerushalayim Al Kain Lenidaha Yasa Kol Mechabdeha Hiziluha Kira'u Ervasa Gam Hi Nencha Vatoshav Ocher Tum Asa B'Sholeha Lei Zachara Acharisa Vatered Pilaim Ein Menachem Allah Re'ei Adonai Es Ani Ki Higdil Oyev Yadei Poras Tzor Al Kol Machamadeha Kiro Asa Goyim Bo Mikdasha Asher tzivisa leyaveyu vakol loch kol amon enochim mevakshim lechem nosenu machamadeihem be'eichel lahashiv nafesh re'ei Adonai v'habita ki hayisi zei leila lei aleichem kol eiverei derech habitu uriyu im yesh machev ki machevi asher eila li asher hego Adonai b'yem charein pei mimoreim sholach eish bat mesai vayidenom Poras reshes l'raglai heshivani acher nisonani shemeimo kol hayem dovo niskad el pishai biyodei yistorego alu al tzavori hichshil keichi Nesonani Adonai bidei leuchal kum Silo chalabirai Adonai bikirbi Kara olai me'ed lishber bachuroi Gas dorach Adonai livsulas bas Yehuda Al eile ani veichiyah Eini yered amayim ki rachak mimeni menachem meishiv nafshi hayu vonai sheimim ki gavar oyev peresat ziyain biyodeh ein menachem Allah tziva Adonai liyakev svivov tzarav Hayesa Yerushalayim Lenida Beineihem Tzadikehu Adonai Ki Fihu Morisi Shim'una Chol Ha'amim Ure'u Mach'evi Psulei Sai Uvachurai Holachu Vashevi Korosi Lam Ahavai Heimarimuni Kehanai uzekenai ba'ir gavo ki vikshu eichel lomei v'yashivu es nafsham re'ei Adonai ki tzar li me'ai chomar moru nepach libi bekirbi ki morei morisi michutz shikla cherev babayis kamoves shame'u ki Nenachani ein menachem li kol eyevai shamu rasisa su ki ata asisa hevesa yem karasa v'yihiyu chamayini tavei chorasam lefanecha ve'elei l'lamei kasher eilalta li al kol p'sha'ai Kirabeis anchesai v'libi davoi Eicha ya'iv be'apei Adonai es bastien Hishlich mishamayim eretz Tif'eres Yisrael V'lei zachar hadem raglav b'yem apei Bila Adonai v'lei chomal Eis kol ne'eis Yaakov Haras b'evrosei Mivtzirei vas Yehuda Higia lo'oretz Chilel mamlocha v'soreha Goda b'choriaf Keil keren Yisrael Heishiv ocher Yeminei mipnei oyev Vayiv'ar b'Yaakov ke'esh lehava Ochlo saviv Dorach kashtei ke'yev Nitzav yeminei kitzor Vayahareg keil machamadei oyin באהל בסטיין שופך כאש חמוסי היה אדוני כאייב בילה ישראל בילה כל ארמניסה שיחס מבצריו וירב בבס יהודה תניה וניה ויחמס כגן סוכי שיחס מידי שיקח אדוני בציין מי עד ושבוס וינעץ בזעם הפי מלך וכהן זונח אדוני מזבחי ניער מקדשי הסגיר ביד אייב חמס ארמניסה קהל נוסנו בבייס אדוני כי ים מייד חשב אדוני להשחיז חמס בסטיין נתקב להשיב ידי מבעליה ויבל חיל וחמה יחדב אומללו תבואו בארץ שעריה איבד ושיבר בריחיה מלכה ושריה וגויים אין תירה גם נביאיה למוצאו חזין מאדוני ישבו לארץ ידמו זקני וסטיין העלו עפר על ראשם חגרו שקים הרידו לארץ ראשון בסולייס ירושלים כלו ודמועס עיני חמרמרו מיי נשפך לארץ כבדי על שבר בסמי ביוטף אליל וינק ברחבי קריה לאימי סם ימרו איי דגון ויין בהסתפם כחולל ברחבי עיר בהשתפך נפשם אל חיק אימי סם מה עידך מה אדם אלך הבס ירושלים מה אשבלך ונחמך בסולס בסיים כי גדל קיים שברך מי ירפלך נביאייך חזו לך שוב וסופל ולגילו על אבינך להשיב שבוסך ויחזו לך מסעי שוב ומדוכים ספקו עלייך כפיים כל עברי דרך שורקו ויוניעו ראשם על בס ירושלים הזי שעיר שיאמרו כלילס יפי מוסייס לכל הארץ פוצו עלייך פיהם כל אייבייך שורקו ויחרקו שיין אמרו בילנו אך זה הים שקיווינו מצאנו ראינו עשה אדוני אשר זמם ביצע אמרוסי אשר ציווה מימי קדם הרס ולחמול וישמח עלייך אויב הרים קרן צורייך צעק ליבם אל אדוני חמס בסיין הרידי חנחל דמעה ימם ולילה אל תתני פוגס לך אל תדעים בס עינייך קומי רייני ולילה לריש אשמורייס שפכי חמיים ליבך נכח פני אדוני שאי אליו כפייך על נפש אלולייך העטופים ברעב בריש כל חוצייס ראי אדוני והביטו למי אלal תוקי אם תאכלנה נשים פריום אללי טיפוחים אם יהרג במקדש אדוני כהן ונביא שכבו לארץ חוצייס נער וזקן בסוליסי ובחורי נפלו בחורב הרגת בימפך טבחת לחמלת תקרא חיים מייד מגורי מסביב ולי היה ביים אף אדוני פוליט ושריד אשר טיפחתי וריבייסי אייבי חילם אני אי הגבר רעני בשבט אברוסי אייסי נהג וילך חשך ולעיר אך בי ישוב יהפך ידי כל הים בלא ושרי ועירי שיבר עצמי סוי בנה עלי ויקף ריש וסלו במחשכים השיבני כמסי אלום גודר בעדי ולי עצי הכביד נחושתי גם כי אזעק ושביה סוסם תפילוסי גודר דרכי בגוזיס נסיבי סי איבו דייב עירי והולי ארי במסתורים דרכי סיירר ויפשחני סומני שמיים דרך קשתי ויציבני כמה תורו לחץ הביא בחיל יסוי בני אשפוסי היש ישחק לכל עמי נגינוסם כל הים הזביעני ואמרדים הרבני לנו ויגרס בחוצוץ שינוי הכפישני באפר ותזנח משלם נפשי נשיסי תיבה ואמר עובד נצחי ושכלתי מאדוני זכר אני ומרודי לנו וריש זכר תזכר וסושייך עלי נפשי זייס אשיב אל ליבי על כן אכיל חסדי אדוני כי לסמנו כי לחלו רחמוב חדושים לבקרים רבו אמונוסך חלקי אדוני אמרו נפשי על כן אכיל אלי טייב אדוני לכבב לנפש תדרשנו טייב ויאכיל ודומם לישועס אדוני טייב לגבר כי ישראל בן אורב ישב בדוד וידם כי נוטל עליו ייתן באפור פיהו אולי יש תקווה ייתן למכהו לכי יזבע בחרפה כי לא יזנח לעולם אדוני כי אם הגה וריחם קרב חסדיו כי אינה מליבי ויגע בני איש לדכא תחס רגליו כאל אסירי ארץ להטס משפט גובר נגד פני עליין לאבייס אדם בריבי אדוני לרעה מי זה אומר ותהי אדוני לציווה מפי עליין ליסייצי הרעיס והטייב, מה יסעינן אדם חי, גבר על חטאיו, נח בסוד דרכינו ונחקרה, ונשובה עד אדוני. נישא לבבינו אל כפויים, אל בשמיים, אנחנו פשענו ומרינו, אתה לסלחת, שקי סבאף ותרדפנו, הרגת לחמלת, שקי סבענן לך, מייבר תפילה, שכי ומאס תשימנו בקרב העמים, פצו עלינו, פיהם כל אויבינו, פחד ופחס, היה לנו השס והשובר, פלגי מים תרדני, על שבר בשמי, איני נגרע, ולסידמה מיין הפוגס, עד ישקיף וירא אדוני משמיים, איני אלה לא לנפשי, מיקל בני עירי, צד צדוני, כציפר אייבי חינם, צומסו ובר חיי, וידו אבן בי, צופו מים על ראשי, אמרתי נגזרתי, קראתי שמך אדוני, מבר תחתייס, כלי שמעת, אל תעלם אוזנך, לרב חסי לשבעסי, קרבת בימי קראך, אמרת אל תירא, רבת אדוני, ריבי נפשי גאלת חיי, ראי אדוני אבוססי, שפטה משפטי, ראי כל נקמסם, כל מחשבי שם לי, שמעת חרפסם אדוני, כל מחשבי שם עלי, ספסי קמי והגיינם עלי, כל היום שבטם וקימוסם הביטה, אני מנגינוסם, תשיב להם גמול, אדוני כמעשה ידיהם, תיתן להם מגינס לב, תלוסך להם, תדף באף ושש מידם, מתחס שמי אדוני. איכה יועם זהב, ישנה הקסם הטב, תשתפך נא אבני קדש, בריש כל חוצייס, בני ציין היקרים, המסולאים בפוז, איכה נחשבו לנבלי חרס מעשי, ידי יצר, גם תנים כל צושד, הניקו גוריהן, בס עמי לאחזר, קי עינים במדבר, דבק לשן ייניק, אל חיקי בצומו, אלולים שואלו לכם, פרס אין להם, האיכלים למעדנים, נושמו בחוצייס, האמונים עלי סלע, חיבקו אשפטייס, ויגדל אבן בסמי, מחטס שדיים, ההפוכה חמי רגע, ולכל בה ידיים, זעקו נזירי המשלג, צחו מי חלב, אדמו עצם מפנינים, ספיר גזרוסם, חשך משחר תורם, לי נקרו בחוצייס, Tzafadeiram alatzmam Yavesh hayachait Teviim hayu chalalei cherev Mechalalei ra'av Shehem yazuv medukarim Mitenuveis Sodoi Yedei Nashim rachamoniyes Bishlu yaldeihen Hayu livareis lamei Bishever basami Kilo Adonayas chamosei Shofach echarei napei Vayatzes eish bitziyein Vateichal yesei deiseho Leiheminu malchei eretz Keil yeshivei seveil Ki yavei tzar ve'oyev B'sharei Yerushalayim Meichateis nevi'eho Aveineis kehaneho Hashefechim b'kirbah Dam tzadikim No ivrim b'chutzeis Negei alu badom Beleye yuchlu Yig'u b'levushayhem Suru tamei karu ulamei Suru al tigo Ki natsu gamno Omeru bagoyim Leye yesifu lagur Pnei Adonai chilukam Leye yesif lahabitam Pnei chehanim Leye nasau Uzekeinim Leye chananu Eideinu tichlena eineinu El ezraseinu havel B'tzipi yaseinu tzipinu El gei Leye yeshia Tzadu tzeadeinu Mileches b'cheveiseinu Koram kitzeinu Malu yameinu Kiva kitzeinu Kalim hayu reidefeinu Min yishrei shamayim Al heharim dlakonu Bamidbar arvulanu Ruach apeinu Mashiach Adonai Nilkad b'shchis eisam Asher amarnu b'tzilei Nichye v'goyim Si'isi v'simchi bas edeim Yesheves be'eretz utz Gam olayich tavor keis Tishkiri v'sisari Tam aveneich bas tziyein Lei yesif lahagleiseich Pokad aveneich bas edeim Gila al chateisoich Zecher Adonai mehoyolonu Habita ure'eyes cherposeinu Nachaloseinu nehefchol lizarim Boteinu linachrim Yiseimim hayinu ve'ein av Imeiseinu ke'almoneis Meimeinu bechesef shosinu Eitzeinu b'mechir yaveyu Al tzavoreinu nirdofnu Yoganu v'lei hunachlonu Mitzrayim nosanu yod Ashur lizbei alochem Aveiseinu chotu ve'einam V'anachnu aveineseihem sovolnu Avodim mosheluvanu Peirek ein miyodam B'nafsheinu navi lachmeinu Mipnei cherev hamidbar Eireinu kisanur nichmaru Mipnei zalafeis ra'av Nashiem b'tziyein inu B'suleis b'yarei Yehuda Sariem b'yadam nislu Pnei zekenim lei nehdaru Bachurim techein nasa'u, Unarim ba'etz kashalu, Zikainim misha'ar shavasu, Bachurim min ginasam, Shavas meseis libeinu, Nepach le'evel mecheleinu, Nafela ateres reisheinu, Einalanu ki chatanu, Alze hayadav libeinu, Al eile choshechu eineinu, Al hartziein sheshameim, Shualim hilechu vei, Ata Adonai le'elam teishev, Kisacha l'deir v'deir, Lama l'netzach tishkacheinu, Tazveinu le'erech yamim, Hashiveinu Adonai elecha v'noshuva, Chadesh yameinu kekedem, Ki im ma'is me'astanu, Kotzafta aleinu ad miyed, Hashiveinu Adonai elecha v'noshuva, Chadesh yameinu kekedem.